Okay, Mr. TA, anonymous man, welcome to F.A.C.E. Looking forward to hearing your voice. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me and address our community.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you very well.
Wonderful.
TA.
Nice to meet you, sir.
It's really nice to meet you too. You have quite a following. A lot of people looking forward to our chat. And the way I like to start, are you going to show your setup or charts, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I mean we could.
Okay, all right. So look, you're a currency trader too. Great. So I like to start with this, Mr. TA. I like to go back to the evolution of your career and what you were doing prior, and what was the catalyst that brought you into trading, and who influenced you, and did you have mentors? So why don't we get in the time machine together and tell me about how you broke into this and who you blame for you becoming a trader.
I blame. I actually started. I got an interest. I'm 30 years old. I've only just turned 30.
Don't rub it in.
Actually, it was quite a milestone for me. It was quite a pressing one, wasn't it? Yeah, I started after the financial crash in 2008. I'd say about 10 years ago. Yeah, turn of the year 2009. I started getting interested in trading, but I didn't really have the real motivation for it. I bought a couple of books, and it was all just gibberish to me. I didn't really know what I was doing, and I looked first into stocks. And then I think I tried it for a couple of months, and I really couldn't. It just didn't stick with me, to be honest. And then end of 2013, I had a few conversations with a friend, and he was getting into trading. I said I'd had a bit of interest in it before, and we started looking at stocks together. Again, it was sort of like, if you think of trading, I think that's the first thing people think of if they've just come from a completely a background, where they don't have any idea about trading. You hear of the stock market and that's it, right?
Unless they're from Chicago or New York.
Yeah, for sure.
Or London. I mean, you knew about the LME and the exchanges over there where they traded commodities, right?
I mean, if you're in one of the big cities, you know about it.
Yeah.
I think I didn't know you could trade Forex the way that I do now, basically. So back end of 2013, we were looking into stocks, and it was quite a lot of management and keeping up with the news and all that kind of stuff, and it didn't really suit my lifestyle at the time. I quit work. I was doing graphic design end of 2013, and I took a year off to have a go at copywriting and web design and off my own back, basically. But it also gave me the freedom to look into trading for the first time on a basis where I didn't have to clock into work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday.
Right.
So I didn't have a great experience with stocks, to be honest. I had noticed, me and my friend, that there was a company called Shire. It was a pharmaceutical company, and I don't know, anyone who's listening who knows stocks better than I, and obviously yourself, probably know I'm probably going to talk a lot of crap here, but the earnings reports come out on a quarterly basis, and they usually come, I think it's when the market's closed, and then when the market opens, they react to the earning reports.
Right.
So we'd noticed this company, Shire, they had, for the past, I don't know, like 2 years, they released their earning reports at midday rather than when the market was closed. So it gave you a little bit of time to analyze the market before the
close.
Yeah, and before the news was going to come out. So we basically, it was March 2014, and they'd had a really good year the year before. And we were looking at basically, it jumped up on every every earnings report that was released. The price had gone up by like 150 points every single time. So we're thinking, year-end reports, okay, it's going to obviously be a really good report. Let's jump in. We'll just chuck a load of money into it, set our stop losses, and we'll look at probably making about 150 point gain. And the yearly report came out, and I think the CEO had basically come out and said, oh, it's a really good year, but I'm stepping down. So initially the price tanked, hit our stop losses, and then they went on to all the we've had a fantastic year, here are all the results, and here what we're forecasting for the next year. And then the price went up by 200 points. But it kind of whipsawed first off.
Salt in the wound.
Yeah,
shake you out and then do what you thought it was going to do.
Yeah, and it was a big chunk of money that I'd put onto it at the time, for me. So I was a bit, I was burned, and at that point I was like, you know what, I'm not doing stocks again. I can't do this. So I think towards the end of 2014, that's when I realized that Forex was something that I could look at. I didn't have to manage it as much as stocks. I didn't have to worry about, if I'm looking at X company, Y company in a completely different country in the world, whatever they do could affect the company I'm looking at on, the complete opposite side of the world where they're based. So it was a lot more technical based Forex, I've found, and that is my approach to it. I'm purely technical. I look at big news events that come out on a weekly, sort of things like non-farmers payroll and any major event that you can find on the economic calendar every week.
So you're pretty much self-taught, TA, right?
Yeah, so I found a website called readthemarket.com. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, and I basically learned supply and demand trading through that.
All right. So I see those are your horizontal lines. Some people call them pivots, daily, weekly, monthly, and you call them, the online trading academy charges $20,000 to teach people supply demand zones, right? Is that who it was?
That's it. You know the guy, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So hope you didn't pay 20.
I didn't pay 20, no.
I believe in it. Yeah, they're important areas, and also looks like you are not a believer in any kind of indicators. I've interviewed quite a few people that trade naked, and pretty much you are. So I hope you do it with the shades drawn, Mr. TA.
I think I always say that with indicators, I think they obviously work. There's my kind of opinion on them is that if you go onto any broker's platform, you'll have inbuilt tools. And I just don't think that it's as easy as, let me stick on a moving average and make my trades there, and let me stick on the RSI. I think the problem with most people when they learn trading is they'll rely on these indicators, but they won't really research the data behind what makes them effective. So a lot of people will, they'll look at a monthly or weekly chart and stick on a moving average on it, and they'll say, well, look at this point here. If I just stick to every time price hits the moving average, I'll long it or I'll short it, and they apply that on the lower time frames and so on and so forth. But I'm completely price action trading, and I put a lot of hours into it. And I just think if you're going to use an indicator-based strategy, you need to do the same thing. You can't just try 5 to 10 trades on one indicator. It doesn't work, and then decide to jump onto the next one. But I've got friends in banks that they rely on the algorithms and the indicators, and it works for them. But for me, it's just something that I've never been interested in. I've tried a moving average strategy to take profits, but I've realized that I can just use my initial and original analysis to determine when best to exit and enter trade. So yeah, for me, it's not something I'm interested in, but I can certainly see there is some sort of reward from it if you put in the right time and effort to learn it correctly.
Okay, so I see you trade currencies, but I also know you have a pretty big focus on crypto. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, sort of. Forex is my bread and butter, and I've ventured into crypto sort of at the worst time possible. What was the end of the bull cycle?
18,000 Bitcoin. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah. Thankfully, I didn't buy it at that high.
Okay. So you traded anyway. I mean, were you more of a trader or like one of these guys, what they call it, hodl? You know, they just buy it, hold on for dear life, and they're,
Yeah.
you know.
There's a bit of column A, bit of column B, to be honest. I have some coins that I've bought quite low now, and I'm with the idea of holding them for the next cycle, which I do believe will come. But I only realised that as a UK citizen, I could start actively trading Bitcoin. I think it was in March or April.
Okay.
So I tried it on Bitfinex, one of the major exchanges, sort of this time last year, when I realised that the market was going down, but I didn't have any way to short it. They didn't have GBP to Bitcoin
Right.
trading at the time. So yeah, from sort of like April onwards, I've been trading crypto. And I think now that we're sort of at the bottom of the chart, I think since sort of September time, my focus has shifted back towards Forex because that's where the volatility is, and Bitcoin is just ranging at the bottom.
Okay. Yeah, we've had a decent little recovery here. You know, it's possible. I mean, from what I see, that we're completing a wave one in Bitcoin up here around 4,000, and I'd be looking at pullbacks around 3,300 possibly. But you know what I want to ask you? You know, last week was a very difficult week, Mr. TA, for many traders because of the bear raid that we had in the yen and the Aussie, and it cleaned out all kinds of stops. How do you were you in the markets when that happened, and or after it happened? Were you reacting to it? It's a very difficult thing to handle. Low liquidity crashes or explosions, which I've seen on both sides. So wondering what you thought of last week, and if it's kind of a hint that the market structure isn't that sound, that they could take 500 pips out of the yen in 5 seconds.
To be honest, I had just before Christmas, I had entered short on AUDJPY, also CADJPY, and also GBPJPY.
Nice.
My initial target for it, and I've put it on my Twitter actually, but let's see if I can get it up here. It was
a measured move of that big rectangle. A breakdown from 79 would give you 74. Was that what you were looking for?
I was looking, 82 down to 79. Actually, my initial trade. I don't know if I can just zoom in on that and without it elongating. But yeah, sort of. So I'd entered up here and I'd caught. Sorry, it was actually up here at this gap. There was a nice zone here that I took. So that was my entry point on AUDJPY, was this lovely little level here.
Yeah.
So
that's a great risk off trade.
Yeah. I mean, it was caught it at basically the perfect time. And then obviously they've put it back on, haven't they? And we've just absolutely sunk. So
yeah. So you got out and then it crashed.
Yeah. So I put my stop loss.
You know how many times that's happened to me? I can't count it.
Oh, sorry. No, I put my stop loss above this resistance line here with my entry in this yellow circle.
Right.
And my target was down here.
I see. Right.
So I caught it down there, but I mean, I couldn't beat this.
Yeah. That's what I mean. All right. So that aggravates me. Okay. I'm kind of known for making the tough money. At the turns, and having what I call at times first daylight syndrome. And I've learned, and even though I don't always practice it, you need to hold a core position for days like that you would always have a piece on. And someone once taught me or told me, and you could ask yourself this question when you're looking to cover a profitable position, ask yourself if you would reverse there. And if you wouldn't reverse there, you can walk away. And because you go, anyway, it's kind of I think trading 90% of it, TA, is in our heads. So a lot of it's psychology. I mean, you could be the greatest technician in the world, but if you don't have the right psychology, like I hope this one works, you better shut down your platform. So I'm just wondering psychologically, what do you say to yourself when, even though it was a great trade, do you look at it and go, oh, I could have made, twice, three times as much money, or do you say next?
To be honest, I used to really look at it and go, oh, I could have held that for a lot longer. There's been times, where you've placed a stop loss and it's faked it by a couple of pips, triggered your stop, and then completely reversed in the direction you thought
Right.
it was going to go. And I've just kind of learned over the years, really, that you can't fixate yourself on what could have been or
Would have, could have, should have.
yeah, this particular trade I'd made that I was just showing you here, I think that one was 4 or 5R, and I go I'm quite risky with my positions. I go in with 5% risk each time.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's like a 20% account growth.
Yeah, you're a shooter.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. And I put my results up actually on Twitter end of December for a 5-week run, and I've done pretty well. But in terms of your question, it's kind of I've so you can see this. These are one of the entries I'm looking at next. These little green and red boxes, and I'm pushing it down to a big demand zone which I've found at the bottom. And it could, it could do the exact same thing. Price could drop completely down below it, but in my eyes, this is a logical trade for me. You've got a 13R trade or a 6.5R trade if I go for a little bit more conservative with my stop loss, which I tend to do normally.
What does the R stand for? Resistance?
Reward.
Oh, risk reward. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. All right.
So I'm happy to take what I've set logically. So this going back
so you're looking to sell a rally back towards the breakdown, 79 or so.
Yeah, that's right.
You would say you're looking. You put limit orders in or monitor it, because it could happen when you're sleeping. I assume you don't stay up 24/7. Do you use you have enough confidence in your levels that you'll just maybe layer in at different prices limit orders to be filled?
I don't layer in at all. To be honest, I just go with a limit order and trust my levels. And I kind of have a scatter approach where I will have, I look at about 15, 16 different charts, and I do higher time frame trading. I don't look at anything, I don't look at entering anything below H4. H8 is typically my favorite, and anything above that, obviously. So sometimes they'll hit, sometimes it won't. So I've for the example was that with the against JPY in December, I had 3 charts hit, and obviously made quite a lot of profit for me. But there was a couple where I think there was USD CAD. I shorted that and got stopped out, and I think I had like 5, 6 losses in a row. But one of these trades, which I'm showing on the screen now, can eliminate all of those losses and then go and make me the profit as well. So it's kind of I've done it enough now over the years to kind of trust the levels that I set, and it's kind of my general view on things is if I get stopped out, I get stopped out. If I win, I win. I'm quite neutral whether I win or lose. So if something makes sense to me, I will take the trade. And if I find myself trying to justify a setup for too long, I will just walk away from that and find something else, because I think if you're looking for the trade too much, you're going to lose.
If you say to yourself, I have to find something to do, obviously at times there's nothing to do. I'm interested in this answer from you because I ask everyone, TA. Sure. How many years would you say it took you to make a breakthrough to where you became more consistent and had confidence that you, even though even the best have drawdowns, could make a living at this? How many years would you say it took you?
So one of the things that I get a lot of disagreement about is a demo account, and I actually traded a demo account for 18 months while I worked out a strategy. And a lot of people don't agree with that because they think you have to have a little bit of skin in the game. You actually have to put a little bit of risk on the table. But for me, I took it very, very seriously. I wanted trading to be my career, and I took the demo account as if it was my real account. I didn't set anything stupid like a 200 grand fake deposit and I'd be trading out. I started off with what I would actually put into a live account, and then, to be honest, for about 12 months, my ego was heavily invested in that account, and I realized, I think it's kind of, it's a personality thing. You know, some people could take that seriously, some people couldn't. But I never wanted to be wrong, and it was only after about 12 months or so that I realized that it's okay to be wrong as a trader, as long as you make trades that negate your losses. So I think really when I started noticing a difference in my results was probably about 3 years after I first started learning. And I used to...
That's right in the average range.
Yeah.
Most people say 4. So, you know, and, you know, I think a lot of people have unrealistic expectations that, you know, they're going to be good at this right away. And, you know, people that sell the secret to trading, there is no secret. It's hard work, hard work, perseverance, and living through adversity. That's the secret. And so that's a great answer, 3 years. Here's another question, because in fact, one of my mentees suggested I ask my guests this, because I talk about market messages and market tells that I get from, you know, correlations, or, you know, stops not being hit, or RSI giving me confirmed highs or divergences. What would you say is the most important thing you've learned for trading that gives you biases to trade, and kind of let you know a little bit ahead of time what you should be looking for a setup?
So my way that I do analysis is, as I said, on price action. So I get tells from the market where a key level is. So one level may have broken another key level, and should the most recent key level be broken, that's kind of an indication for me that price wants to go in a certain direction. So
your supply demand zones are really like the crux, and the most important part of your trading is whether they get rejected or taken out. Is that correct?
Basically, yeah. So for example, here, if I've got this as a demand zone, and this was my original target for my short up here, remember, because I thought this is where price could bounce. So once that got broken and we didn't close above it, that was then the signal for me that price wanted to keep going lower.
Right.
And really, if you look at my setups here, what I've got, if I just zoom out, is these lows here have been broken. Let me just make that a little bit more attractive so it's not so. So for me, this is where price has been held up for an extended period of time. Once we've broken it, then we get a pattern like this. We kind of got a lot of red candles, is the most basic way of putting it. We've got a bullish candle followed by more red. So that for me is an indication where a lot of selling has taken place, and you know, this is where the continuation for moving further south would occur. So the way I learned was, and I don't know if it's true or not. You know, there's no
many ways to skin a cat. You know, many ways, right?
But I think the way that people, you know, tell a story for why trading does this and why trading does that, it helps people visualize why they should enter at a certain zone. So my whole method of trading is very logical based. It's very simple. When you look at supply and demand, the narrative was that big institutions come to sort of an equilibrium. You know, you've got a lot of buying and selling at this particular point in the chart. Just go down a level just so you can see a bit more of that consolidation. So at this point, where price is sort of fighting, once all the buys have been used up and used for liquidity, price will shoot away south. So my whole idea basically is that when price returns here, there will be unfilled orders that remain from the lack of liquidity at this point. You know, the quicker we move away from a level, the more out of balance the supply and demand is at that point.
Okay.
So it's kind of like,
think yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's kind of like jumping on the coattails of an institution. You know, if an institution's put a huge sell order here that hasn't been filled, the indication from price is that there'll still be unfilled orders that will remain at this level. As a retail trader, I can jump in on that while their big sell orders move the market. And that's kind of like the way I look at it.
So being a supply demand trader, you probably, I'm not sure, I'm going to ask you, you know, we're at the beginning of 2019 and you probably look at monthlies and weeklies and everything. What are you scanning for what could be great opportunities for the new year here? Or you just have to wait for levels to be taken out to tell you?
Yeah, basically. So, I mean, if we looked on the weekly here, for example, I'm on my laptop at the moment, so I've got the biggest of screens.
You're doing a great job.
Cheers. So for me, it's kind of looking at the overall direction of where price is going, what the trend is. At the moment, this isn't too conclusive on the weekly for me, but it looks like we've got a really big swing that just kind of wants to go back down to the origin of this move. So I'm quite bearish. Yeah. I mean, my friend is a programmer, and he basically, so one of my edges is having currency indexes. So it's like an average of
kind of like strength meter.
Sort of like the DXY chart. So you've got USDX. So I've got coded sort of like average cross pairs against different currencies. So JPY against the majors like GBP, EUR, CAD, USD. So really, when I'm looking for a setup, I will see because remember, I mean, I think one of the things that people, or particularly new traders, don't realize is that, you know, big institutions buy currencies. They don't trade cross pairs, from what I know. So when I've got these currency indexes, I'll see which currencies are moving the most, and then narrow down the cross pair basically. But in terms of like overall forecasts, I just kind of take what is coming. I don't really want to plan too far ahead in the future because I'll most likely get it wrong. So I mean, like on the weekly chart, I can see that this is a big area of demand, and it just looks to me like price wants to get down. So get down there. So I'm very much.
That would probably imply a note that the S&Ps haven't bottomed and there's another break to come. You know, I have to ask you. I was going to do it at the opening, but before you go, why the handle? Technical? Come on, buddy. Because I'll tell you something. That's what made me notice you, is because I would tell a joke that artists at times have to be so precise that they act like technical analysts. So I want to ask you, buddy, why your handle technical_anal?
It was yeah, it was the obvious wordplay, right? Technical_analyst was already taken.
Okay.
When I set my Twitter account up last year, I never thought I'd get more than like a couple of hundred followers, to be honest. And I thought a good way to get in notice is putting something stupid as my Twitter handle. And
it's not stupid. People are technically anal.
Yeah, I mean, some people don't actually get it.
Huh?
Yeah, no, absolutely no. It's I think in a way it's clever, but at the same time it's really stupid.
All right, so now this is for you and your associates. Maybe you want to show your website so that people that are interested that have heard you live. You have a very nice following. I see, many came in to hear you today. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you besides your Twitter handle at Technical Anal? And, what's your business model? Do you mentor people? I believe you have a trading room. In fact, I think I have an interview scheduled with one of your associates, Trader Maine,
That's
in
right,
a month or so. So if you want to show that, that would be fine at this time.
I think we've actually, I'm not sure if the website is down at present because we're just going through, oh no, it's up, lovely.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a trading room where we basically, our focus is on education as opposed to giving out signals for trading.
Okay.
So basically we've been running for, I think we're in month 5 now, and I think we started off with about 50 to 70 members in our first month, and now we've grown up to nearly 250 to 300. I don't have the actual figures.
Nice.
But yeah, no, we basically focus on price action trading. The other 2 guys I work with, one of the handles is Scarface. He's been trading for near on 10 years. He's got a good background in stocks and commodities. And
I really didn't know that Al Pacino traded.
Yeah, I know. It's a funny old world, isn't it? The crypto Twitter, everyone with their anonymous handles and everything.
So is your website address www.bitcointradegroup.com? Is that it?
.co.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah, bitcointradegroup.co.
All right.
And then we've also got our Twitter handle is BitcoinTG at BitcoinTG. And on there, you can find all of our ideas of education. We do live trading as well, so obviously people can see the concepts in action. And I put some of my results up from my live trading over the past month, and Trader Main does it as well. Scarface does it. So it's a nice little setup we've got going, and quite a lot of people where we've really shaped their trading lives, I guess, without sounding too big-headed about it. But a lot of people, our main focus was the sort of the crypto space, and a lot of people come into crypto and don't really know where to look.
Right.
And they will look at like the very basic chart patterns, which I don't think really help. So we've kind of, given them the sort of fundamental view on how charts work and how trading works. And I'd like to think we're doing quite well with turning people's trading accounts around.
All right. Well, I want to congratulate you and your partners on doing a great work, planting good seeds, helping traders. And I want to thank you, Mr. TA, for coming in today. It was really, I had a good time talking with you, and like it or not, you're now my trading warrior brother. And
I like it. Yeah, don't worry, I like it.
And I wish you success in your own account, and may your business grow like a mushroom, and have a great 2019, Mr. TA.
You too.
All right, everyone. You're very welcome, Mr. TA. Everyone, you could follow Mr. TA at technical_anal, and here's his website here, www.bitcointradegroup.co. See everyone for Turnaround Tuesday. Enjoy the rest of your day. Good hunting, and remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. And we'll see everyone tomorrow. Adios. Thanks again, TA. Adios.
Cheers, buddy. Bye.